Hey there, English Plus listeners. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of our podcast where we not only learn English but also delve into fascinating topics that you will love. I'm your host, Danny, and today we're going to take a trip down memory lane and explore the magical world of the internet. Oh yes, the internet, the one thing that has made binge-watching cat videos and shopping for avocado slicers at 2 a.m. not only possible, but socially acceptable. Now I know what you're thinking. A history lesson? Really? But trust me, this is going to be more exciting than you think. I mean, come on, we're talking about the birth and evolution of the digital universe that has become such an integral part of our lives. It's a story of innovation, competition, and a whole lot of nerdy fun. And the best part, you'll be learning cool English words and phrases along the way. So buckle up, my friends, because we're about to embark on a wild ride through the history of the internet. And don't worry, I'll be your solo pilot for this adventure, guiding you through the ins and outs of this amazing tale. It's just you, me, and the infinite digital cosmos. What could be more fun than that? So let's start our journey at the very beginning, when the seeds of the internet were first planted. The early days of computer networking were like the digital Wild West. A time of exploration, experimentation, and of course, some pretty nerdy showdowns. Back in the 1960s, during the height of the Cold War, the US Department of Defense was looking for ways to create a communication system that could withstand a potential nuclear attack. Enter ARPANET, the granddaddy of the internet we know and love today. ARPANET, which stands for the Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, was the first successful computer networking project in the United States. The idea was to connect computers at research institutions across the country, creating a decentralized network that could keep the lines of communication open even if part of the network was damaged. Now here's a fun little story for you. The first message ever sent over ARPANET was supposed to be the word login, but the system crashed after just the first two letters low were sent. Talk about a rocky start. But hey, we all have to start somewhere, right? The development of ARPANET laid the groundwork for packet switching, a technology that allows data to be broken into smaller pieces or packets and sent across a network. This was a game changer because it made communication between computers much more efficient and reliable. Leonard Kleinrock, a key figure in the development of packet switching, once said, "The internet is like a giant jellyfish. You can't step on it. You can't go around it. You've got to get through it." And packet switching was the key to getting through that jellyfish. As ARPANET grew, other networks began to pop up around the world, and researchers started to think about how these networks could be connected. This idea, known as internetworking, eventually led to the creation of the Transmission Control Protocol, or TCP, and the Internet Protocol, or IP, which are the foundation of the internet as we know it today. These protocols, developed by Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn in the 1970s, allowed different computer networks to communicate with each other, making the dream of a global network a reality. So from the ashes of the Cold War, the internet was born, a testament to human ingenuity and the power of connection. And while ARPANET may be long gone, its legacy lives on in the billions of devices that are now connected to the internet, allowing us to share cat videos, avocado slicer reviews, and of course, amazing podcasts like this one. Stay tuned because we're just getting started. Up next, we'll dive into the birth of the World Wide Web and the man who made it all possible, Tim Berners-Lee. You won't want to miss it. Alright, so we've reached the part of our journey where we take a leap forward in time and land in the early 1990s. An era of neon colors, grunge music, and a little invention that would change the world forever, the World Wide Web. Now, I know it's easy to get the terms internet and World Wide Web mixed up, but let me clear that up for you. The internet is the vast global network of computers that we've been talking about so far, while the World Wide Web is the system that allows us to access and share information using websites and web browsers. Think of the internet as the massive, intricate highway system and the World Wide Web as the sleek, cool cars that help us navigate it. Enter Tim Berners-Lee. a British computer scientist working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, in 1989, Tim had a revolutionary idea. What if we could create a way for researchers to share their work easily and efficiently without having to rely on clunky email attachments or slow, unreliable file transfers? And so, the World Wide Web was born. Tim's invention consisted of three key components: HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language, which allowed people to create web pages with images, texts, and links; HTTP, or Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which enabled the transfer of data between web servers and web browsers; and lastly, the humble URL, or Uniform Resource Locator, which gave each web page a unique address that could be easily shared and accessed. And here's a fun fact. Did you know that Tim Berners-Lee also created the first web browser called World Wide Web, which later was renamed Nexus, and the first web server? Well, talk about a one-man show. Okay, back to the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web quickly gained traction, and by the mid-1990s, it had become a household name. I mean, who could forget the iconic sound of a dial-up modem connecting to the internet? The sweet symphony of our digital youth. With the World Wide Web, the internet became more than just a network for researchers and academics. It opened up a whole new world of possibilities, connecting people across the globe and making information more accessible than ever before. As Tim Berners-Lee himself once said, the power of the web is in its universality. Access by everyone, regardless of disability, is an essential aspect. So next time you're scrolling through your favorite website or sharing a hilarious meme with a friend on the other side of the world, take a moment to appreciate the brilliance of Tim Berners-Lee and the incredible invention that has shaped the way we live, work, and communicate. But our journey through the history of the internet is far from over, my friends. Up next, we'll explore the rise of web browsers and search engines and the fierce battles for digital dominance that ensued. Stay tuned. As we continue our voyage through the history of the internet, we find ourselves in the midst of the browser wars, a time of fierce competition, rapid innovation, and a whole lot of corporate drama. So grab your popcorn, folks, because we're about to witness the rise of web browsers and search engines and the epic battles that shape the digital landscape we know today. Picture this. It's the early 90s, and the World Wide Web is starting to gain traction. People are realizing that they need a way to navigate this ever-expanding universe of information, and that's where web browsers come in. These handy-dandy tools allow us to view, access, and interact with a vast array of web pages available on the internet. The first commercially successful web browser was none other than Netscape Navigator, which hit the scene in 1994. Netscape quickly became the go-to browser for many early internet users thanks to its user-friendly interface and innovative features like support for JavaScript and plugins. At its peak, Netscape commanded a whopping 90% of the browser market share. Talk about a digital titan. But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility and great competition. In 1995, Microsoft entered the fray with its own web browser, Internet Explorer, and thus the first browser war began. Microsoft pulled out all the stops to dethrone Netscape, bundling Internet Explorer with its wildly popular Windows operating system and constantly updating its browser with new features and improvements. The result? By the early 2000s, Internet Explorer had overtaken Netscape as the most widely used web browser. But wait, there's more. As the browser wars raged on, another contender stepped into the ring: Google. In 2008, the search engine giant launched Google Chrome, which quickly became a fan favorite thanks to its speed, stability, and minimalist design. Fast forward to today, and Chrome is now the reigning champ, dominating the browser market share. So it's safe to say that the browser wars are far from over, with new challengers like Mozilla Firefox and Apple Safari constantly duking it out for a piece of the pie. Let's talk search engines. In the early days of the World Wide Web, finding information was like searching for a needle in a haystack. Enter search engines, the digital librarians that help us navigate the vast sea of information on the internet. The first search engine to make a splash was Yahoo, which launched in 1994 as a directory of websites organized by topic. But it was a little startup called Google, founded in 1998 by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, that would ultimately change the game. With its innovative search algorithm and clean, simple interface, Google quickly became the go-to search engine for millions of users around the world. And the rest, as they say, is history. Today, Google is synonymous with search, handling billions of queries every day and spawning countless memes about its omnipotence. So whether you're a loyal Chrome user, a die-hard Firefox fan, or an avid Google searcher, you can thank the browser wars and the rise of search engines for shaping the way we access and explore the digital world. But our journey is not over yet, folks. Stay tuned as we delve into the dot-com boom and bust and the wild roller coaster ride of the internet economy. You won't want to miss it. Alright, dear listeners, buckle up and hold on to your hats because we're about to venture into the exhilarating and turbulent world of the dot-com boom and bust. A time of soaring highs, crushing lows, and a whole lot of internet-fueled madness. The stage is set in the late 1990s and early 2000s, when the internet was still a relatively new phenomenon. As more and more people started going online, entrepreneurs and investors saw dollar signs and lots of them. The result? A frenzy of internet-based startups, or dot-coms, eager to cash in on the digital gold rush. These dot-coms promised to revolutionize everything, from shopping and entertainment to communication and education. And for a while, it seemed like they could do no wrong. Investors were throwing money at these startups, hoping to strike it rich as their stock prices skyrocketed. Companies like Pets.com, Webvan, and Cosmo.com became household names, even though many of them had little to no profits. It was a wild, wild time, my friends. But as with all bubbles, the dot-com bubble eventually burst. In the early 2000s, the market came crashing down, and many of these once high-flying startups went belly up, leaving investors with empty pockets and dashed dreams. So what caused this dramatic rise and fall? Well, there are a few factors at play. For one, many of these dot-coms were built on shaky business models that prioritized growth and market share over profits. They spent millions of dollars on advertising and expansion, hoping to become the next best thing. But when the profits failed to materialize, they found themselves in a whole heap of trouble. Another factor was the irrational exuberance of investors, who were all too eager to pour their money into these new, exciting ventures without fully understanding the risks. As the market continued to soar, a sense of invincibility took hold, with many believing that the good times would never end. But as history has shown time and time again, what goes up must come down. So, what can we learn from the dot-com boom and bust? Well, for one, it's a reminder of the importance of sustainable, long-term growth and the dangers of getting swept up in the hype. It's also a testament to the resilience of the internet and the digital economy, which has continued to grow and evolve despite these setbacks. And while many dot-coms may have faded into obscurity, some, like Amazon, Google, and eBay, have emerged stronger than before, proving that with the right strategy and a bit of luck, it is possible to ride out the storm and come out on top. But our exploration of the history of the internet doesn't end here, folks. Up next, we'll dive into the fascinating world of social media and its impact on society and culture. Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Alright, dear listeners, it's time to tackle a topic that has become a ubiquitous part of our lives: social media. Love it or hate it, there's no denying the massive impact that social media has had on society and culture over the past decade or so. From connecting with friends and family to sharing news and information, social media has transformed the way we communicate and interact with the world around us. Let's start with a bit of history. Social media as we know it today began to take shape in the early 2000s with the launch of platforms like Friendster, MySpace, and LinkedIn. These early social networks allowed people to create profiles, connect with friends and colleagues, and share information and updates. But it was Facebook, launched in 2004 by Mark Zuckerberg and his college roommates, that would ultimately change the game. Facebook quickly became the go-to social network with its user-friendly interface, vast user base, and addictive features like the news feed and the like button. Since then, social media has exploded in popularity, with platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok dominating the digital landscape. These platforms have become a central part of our daily lives, with many of us checking our feeds multiple times a day. But with great power comes great responsibility, and social media is no exception. The rise of social media has brought with it a host of complex issues, from cyberbullying and online harassment to fake news and misinformation. It has also been accused of fueling polarization, echo chambers, and the spread of extremist views. On the other hand, social media has also been a force for good, allowing marginalized communities to connect and mobilize, giving a voice to the voiceless, and creating a platform for social and political change. So what's the future of social media? That's a tough question to answer, as the landscape is constantly evolving. But one thing's for sure, social media isn't going away anytime soon. It will continue to shape the way we communicate and interact with the world around us, for better or for worse. As with all technology, it's up to us to use social media responsibly and ethically. It's up to us to be critical consumers of information, to engage in civil discourse, and to use these platforms to build bridges rather than walls. And if you want to learn more about this topic, you can check out our episode yesterday, in which we talked in depth about the impact of social media on society and culture. So, whether you're a social media addict or a skeptic, there's no denying the impact that these platforms have had on our world. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we'll all be communicating through holograms or telepathy. But until then, keep scrolling, keep posting, and keep exploring the brave new world of social media. As we near the end of our journey through the history of the internet, we come to a topic that has captured the imagination of scientists, futurists, and sci-fi fans alike: artificial intelligence, or AI for short. From self-driving cars and voice assistants to deep learning and natural language processing, AI has the potential to revolutionize everything from the way we live and work to the very nature of humanity itself. But what exactly is AI, and how did we get here? Well, at its most basic level, AI refers to the ability of machines to learn and make decisions based on data and algorithms without explicit human input. This can take many forms, from simple rule-based systems to more complex neural networks that can simulate human thought and behavior. The roots of AI can be traced back to the early days of computing, with pioneers like Alan Turing and John McCarthy laying the foundations for what would eventually become the field of AI. But it wasn't until the advent of machine learning in the 1980s and 1990s that AI really started to take off. Fast forward to today, and AI is everywhere. From the Siri and Alexa assistants on our smartphones to the recommendation algorithms that power our social media feeds and online shopping experiences. But with great power comes great responsibility, and AI is not without its challenges and controversies. One of the biggest challenges facing AI is the issue of bias, because AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on. They can perpetuate or amplify existing biases and inequalities. For example, facial recognition technology has been shown to be less accurate for people of color and women, reflecting the biases of the predominantly white and male programmers who created it. Another challenge is the question of jobs. As AI becomes more advanced, it has the potential to automate many jobs and industries, leading to significant changes in the labor market and the economy as a whole. But despite these challenges, there's no denying the incredible potential of AI to transform our world for the better. From improving healthcare and education to tackling climate change and poverty, AI has the power to solve some of the world's most pressing problems. So as we look to the future, it's important to approach AI with both caution and optimism to harness its power while mitigating its risks. Who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we'll have AI-powered robots cleaning our homes and cooking our meals, or AI-generated art that rivals the masters. Whatever comes next, one thing for sure, AI is here to stay, and it's up to us to shape its future. And remember, AI would not have been even possible without the power of the internet. And that's why we included it in this episode, but we'll definitely talk about AI in more detail in the episodes to come. So stay tuned. And now, dear listeners, we come to the end of our journey through the history of the internet. But before we sign off, there's one more topic we simply can't ignore: the Internet of Things, or IoT for short. From smart homes and wearables to industrial sensors and self-driving cars, IoT is the next frontier in the digital revolution, promising to connect everything and everyone in a seamless web of data and communication. So what exactly is IoT? At its most basic level, IoT refers to the ability of everyday objects, from light bulbs to refrigerators to cars, to connect to the internet and exchange data with each other and with us. This can enable a whole host of new applications and services, from energy-efficient homes to personalized healthcare to smarter cities. The origins of IoT can be traced back to the early 2000s, with researchers first began exploring the idea of embedding sensors and connectivity into everyday objects. But it wasn't until the widespread adoption of smartphones and cloud computing in the 2010s that IoT really started to take off. Today, IoT is a rapidly growing market with billions of devices and sensors connected to the internet and generating massive amounts of data. But with this growth comes new challenges and opportunities, from privacy and security concerns to new business models and revenue streams. On the one hand, IoT has the potential to revolutionize our lives in countless ways, from reducing energy consumption and improving healthcare outcomes to enhancing transportation and logistics. But on the other hand, it also raises questions about who controls the data generated by these devices and how that data is used and protected. As with any new technology, it's up to us to navigate these challenges and harness the potential of IoT for the greater good. This means designing systems that are secure, transparent, and ethical, and ensuring that the benefits of IoT are shared fairly and equitably. So, as we bid farewell to our journey through the history of the internet, let's remember that the digital revolution is far from over, and that the future is limited only by our imagination and our willingness to embrace change. Who knows what amazing new technologies and innovations are just around the corner? Only time will tell. As always, dear listeners, we're ending this episode of English Plus with a list of some of the key terms and expressions we've used throughout our discussion of the history of the internet. By understanding and using these words and phrases in context, you'll not only improve your English skills, but also deepen your understanding of this fascinating topic. Now let's start with the first one, digital revolution. We use this term to describe the profound impact that digital technologies like the internet have had on society and the community, transforming everything from communication and commerce to entertainment and education. We also talked about the dot-com boom and bust. We use this phrase to refer to the rapid growth and subsequent collapse of internet-based startups in the late 1990s and early 2000s, highlighting the excesses and speculation that characterized this period. We also talked about artificial intelligence, or AI. We use this term to describe the ability of machines to learn and make decisions based on data and algorithms without explicit human input, highlighting the potential of AI to revolutionize everything from self-driving cars to personalized healthcare. We also talked about algorithms. We use this term to describe the set of rules or instructions used by computers to solve problems or make decisions, highlighting the critical role that algorithms play in areas like search engines, recommendation systems, and machine learning. We use the word bias. We use this term to refer to the tendency of AI systems to perpetuate and amplify existing biases and inequalities, emphasizing the need for greater awareness and accountability in the design and development of AI technology. We also talked about machine learning. We use this term to describe the type of AI that allows machines to learn and improve their performance over time based on data and algorithms, highlighting its applications in areas like natural language processing, image recognition, and predictive analytics. We also talked about neural networks. We use this term to describe a type of machine learning model that simulates the structure and function of the human brain, emphasizing its potential for enabling machines to perform complex tasks like pattern recognition and decision making. We talked about data mining. We use this term to describe the process of extracting patterns and insights from large data sets, highlighting its applications in areas like marketing, finance, and scientific research. We talked about Internet of Things, or IoT. We use this term to describe the network of connected devices, sensors, and objects that can exchange data and communicate with each other and with humans, emphasizing its potential for enabling a whole host of new applications and services, from smart homes to personalized healthcare to smarter cities. We talked about cloud computing. We use this term to describe the model of computing where data and applications are stored and accessed over the internet rather than on local servers or devices, highlighting its potential for enabling greater scalability, flexibility, and cost savings. We talked about smart homes. We use this term to describe homes equipped with IoT devices and technology that can be controlled and automated for greater convenience, efficiency, and energy savings, emphasizing the potential for this technology to transform the way we live and work. We talked about wearables. We use this term to describe devices like smartwatches and fitness trackers that can be worn on the body and connected to the internet to track activity, health, and other data, highlighting their potential for enabling personalized healthcare and wellness. We talked about self-driving cars. We use this term to describe cars equipped with AI and other technology that can navigate and drive themselves, potentially leading to greater safety, efficiency, and mobility, highlighting the potential for this technology to transform the way we commute and travel. We talked about personalized healthcare. We use this term to describe healthcare that is tailored to the individual needs and preferences of patients, often enabled by IoT devices and data analytics, highlighting the potential for this technology to improve patient outcomes and reduce healthcare costs. And finally, we talked about cybersecurity. We use this term to describe the practice of protecting computer systems and networks from unauthorized access, theft, and damage, often through the use of encryption, firewalls, and other security measures, highlighting the critical importance of cybersecurity in the digital age. So there you have it, 15 key terms and expressions to help you deepen your understanding of the history of the internet and its many implications for society and culture. Keep these in mind as you continue to explore this fascinating topic, and remember, learning English is always more meaningful and enjoyable when done in context. And that, dear listeners, brings us to the end of our discussion of the history of the internet. I hope that this deep dive into the past, present, and future of this revolutionary technology has given you a better understanding of its impact on society and culture and the many opportunities and challenges it presents for all of us. Remember, learning English is always more meaningful and enjoyable when done in context, and I hope that this episode has provided you with a wealth of new vocabulary and expressions to add to your language arsenal. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate and review my podcast on your favorite platform and share it with your friends and family. You can also follow me on social media to stay up to date on all my latest episodes and news. That'll be all for today. Thank you for listening. This is your host, Danny. I will see you next time.